Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is scrolling through their phone for the third hour straight, their eyes burning, their mind numb, but unable to stop. Another person just broke a promise they made to themselves this morning. They said they'd go to the gym. They said they'd start that project. They said today would be different. But here they are in the same place, feeling the same shame. Someone else is lying in bed at 3 in the morning, paralyzed by a decision they're too afraid to make. Their thoughts spinning in endless circles, going nowhere. We live in the most distracted era in human history. We have more tools, more resources, more information than any generation before us. And yet we feel more lost, more overwhelmed, more out of control than ever before. But 800 years ago, in the mountains and valleys of feudal Japan, there existed a group of warriors who mastered something we're desperately searching for today. Something that feels almost impossible in our modern world. Complete control over themselves. The samurai didn't just fight battles with swords. They fought a war most of us lose every single day. The war against our own weakness, our own chaos, our own undisciplined minds. The war against the part of us that wants to quit, that wants to take the easy path, that wants to give in to every impulse and distraction, and they won. This is their code. This is how they became unbreakable. And this is how you can too. The samurai weren't just soldiers. They weren't just hired killers or mindless warriors following orders. They were artists of discipline, philosophers in armor, poets with swords. For over 700 years, they shaped Japan not just with their blades, but with a way of living so precise, so intentional, so deeply thought out, that it turned ordinary men into legends that we still talk about centuries after their time ended. At the heart of their existence was something called Bushido, the way of the warrior. It wasn't a rule book written in some ancient text. It wasn't a set of laws enforced by punishment. It was a code woven into their souls, passed down from master to student, lived out in every moment of every day. 7 virtues that governed every breath, every decision, every action, every word they spoke. And here's the truth most people miss when they hear about the samurai. They think Bushido was about fighting, about war, about violence and death and honor on the battlefield. But that's not what Bushido was really about. Bushido was designed for life, for becoming someone you could respect when you looked in the mirror, for building a self so strong, so grounded, so unshakable that nothing external could break it. Not failure, not criticism, not hardship, not even death itself. The samurai understood something we've forgotten. Your external enemies are nothing compared to your internal ones. The real battle isn't out there. It's in here, in your mind, in your habits, in your moment-to-moment choices. Let's walk through these 7 virtues, not as history lessons, not as dusty concepts from a bygone era, but as tools you can use right now, today, in this moment, to reclaim your life from distraction, from weakness, from the chaos of the modern world. The first virtue is rectitude, moral courage, right action. The samurai believed that knowing the right thing to do was completely useless if you didn't have the spine to actually do it. You could be the wisest person in the world. You could understand every philosophy, every moral principle, every ethical framework. But if you couldn't act on that knowledge when it mattered, it meant nothing. Rectitude was about making the hard choice when it mattered most, when no one was watching, when it would cost you something. When it was easier to look away, to compromise, to tell yourself that just this once it's okay to take the shortcut. Think about your own life for a moment. Be honest with yourself. How many times have you known exactly what you should do, but didn't do it? You knew you should have that difficult conversation with your friend, your partner, your boss. You knew you should walk away from that toxic situation, that bad relationship, that job that's slowly killing your soul. You knew you should keep that promise to yourself, that commitment you made when you were feeling motivated and inspired. But you hesitated. You found excuses. You rationalized. You compromised. You chose comfort over character. You chose the easy path over the right path. The samurai would say this: your life is the sum of your decisions in those moments, not the easy ones where doing the right thing costs you nothing. The hard ones, the ones where choosing right means choosing pain, choosing sacrifice, choosing difficulty. Rectitude isn't about being perfect. The samurai never claimed to be perfect. It's about being honest enough with yourself to do what's right, even when your hands are shaking, even when your voice cracks, even when every fiber of your being wants to run away. Here's a modern example. Imagine you're at work. You've been working hard on a project for weeks. Your boss asks you to take credit for someone else's idea in a presentation. It would benefit you. It would make you look good. It's a small lie. No one would ever know the truth. The other person might not even care. You could justify it 100 different ways. Rectitude is saying no, not because you're afraid of getting caught, not because someone might find out, but because you'll know, and that's enough. Because you have to live with yourself. You have to look at yourself in the mirror, and if you can't respect the person looking back at you, nothing else matters. Rectitude is choosing integrity over advancement, truth over convenience, character over comfort, every single time. The second virtue challenges everything you think you know. Courage, but not the courage you're thinking of, not the Hollywood version, not the fearless hero running into danger without a second thought. The samurai didn't glorify recklessness. Charging into battle without fear, without thought, without strategy, that wasn't courage to them. That was stupidity. That was ego. That was a waste of life. Real courage was something quieter, deeper, more difficult. Real courage was sitting with your fear and not letting it control you. It was acting in alignment with your values, even when your body screamed at you to run, to hide, to give up. It was the ability to stand still in the storm inside your own mind and not be swept away by it. The samurai trained for years, not just to fight external enemies, but to master the enemy within: fear, anger, desire, ego. These were the real opponents, and they were far more dangerous than any sword. Most of us aren't facing swords today. We're not walking onto battlefields. We're facing something different. We're facing our own thoughts, the anxiety that keeps us awake at 3 in the morning, playing out every worst-case scenario, the shame that stops us from trying, from putting ourselves out there, from being visible, the fear of failure that makes us play small. That keeps us stuck in lives we don't even want, because at least they're familiar, at least they're safe. The samurai would tell you courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the refusal to obey it. Think about the last time you wanted to start something new. A business, a creative project, a difficult conversation, a new relationship after your heart was broken. That voice in your head came immediately, didn't it? It told you all the reasons why you'd fail, why you're not good enough, why you should wait, why you should be more prepared, why you should stay where you are. And maybe you listened to it. Maybe you waited for the fear to go away first. Maybe you told yourself you'd do it when you felt more confident, more ready, more brave. But it never does. The fear never goes away. Confidence doesn't create action. Action creates confidence. Courage is moving anyway. It's saying, I see you, fear. I hear you. I acknowledge you. But you don't get to drive. You don't get to make my decisions. You can sit in the back seat and scream all you want, but I'm the one with my hands on the wheel. The samurai practiced this daily. They meditated on death, on failure, on loss, not to become depressed, but to become free. Because once you've faced your worst fears in your mind, once you've sat with them and survived, they lose their power over you. The third virtue is where most people get it wrong: Jin, benevolence, compassion. This one surprises people. We imagine the samurai as cold, ruthless warriors, emotionless killing machines. Men who showed no mercy, no kindness, no softness. But Bushido demanded the opposite. It demanded compassion, especially from those with power. The samurai believed that strength without kindness was tyranny, that a true warrior used his power to protect, not dominate, to lift up, not crush down, to serve something greater than himself. There's a famous story about a samurai master walking through a village when he encountered a bully tormenting a weaker man. The bully, seeing the samurai's swords, challenged him to a duel, trying to prove himself. The samurai refused 3 times. The bully called him a coward. Still, the samurai walked away. When his student asked why he didn't fight, the master said, "I could have killed him in 1 strike." Where is the honor in that? Where is the compassion? He's ignorant, not evil. Teaching him through mercy is harder than cutting him down. That takes real strength. In the modern world, we've forgotten this. We worship success, wealth, influence, power, status. We celebrate people who crush their competition, who step on others to climb higher, who treat kindness as weakness, but we rarely ask the important question: what are you doing with your power? You don't need to be rich or famous to practice benevolence. You have power right now, power over your words, your time, your attention, your energy. The question is, are you using it to help or to harm, to build up or tear down? Here's a small example. Someone at your job is struggling. They're new. They're overwhelmed. They keep making mistakes. You could ignore them. It's not your problem. You're busy. You have your own work to do. Or you could step on them to make yourself look better by comparison. Or you could take 10 minutes to guide them, to offer help without expecting anything back, to share what you know, to make their path a little easier because someone once did the same for you. Or because no one did and you remember how hard that was. That's Jin. That's benevolence. The samurai understood something we've lost. Real strength is measured by how you treat people who can't do anything for you. People who can't advance your career, can't boost your status, can't give you anything in return. How you treat the waiter, the janitor, the person asking for directions, the stranger who will never know your name. That reveals who you really are. The 4th virtue stands apart in an age of endless disrespect. Respect. The samurai bowed a lot. They bowed to their masters, to their equals, even to their opponents before a duel. They bowed to the beginning and end of training. They bowed when entering and leaving rooms, not because they were weak, not because they were submissive, but because they understood something profound. How you treat others is a reflection of how you see yourself. Respect wasn't about politeness for its own sake. It wasn't about following social rules to avoid awkwardness. It was about recognizing the inherent dignity in every person, every interaction, every moment, and holding yourself to the same standard. When a samurai showed respect, he was saying, "I am the kind of person who shows respect. I hold myself to a higher standard, not because you've earned it, but because I've earned it from myself." We live in an age of disrespect. We cancel, we attack, we judge from behind screens. We treat people like obstacles, interruptions, tools to get what we want. We cut people off in traffic. We're rude to customer service representatives. We don't listen when others speak. We interrupt. We dismiss. We mock. And in doing so, we lose respect for ourselves. Here's the truth the samurai knew. When you disrespect others, you're training yourself to be disrespectful. You're telling yourself that you're the kind of person who treats people poorly. And deep down, somewhere in your subconscious, you start to believe that you're no better than anyone else, that you don't deserve better, that this is just who you are. The samurai practiced respect like a meditation. They spoke carefully, choosing their words with intention. They listened deeply, not waiting for their turn to talk but actually hearing what was being said. They acknowledged others, made eye contact, gave their full presence, not because others deserved it, but because they deserved to be the kind of person who showed respect. Try this. Tomorrow, in every interaction, pause before you speak. Take a breath. Ask yourself, would the person I want to become say this? Would the person I respect say this? Is this adding value or just adding noise? That's the practice. And it's harder than it sounds, because it requires constant awareness, constant choice, constant discipline. But that's the point. That's how you build yourself into someone unbreakable. The 5th virtue asks, what if you stopped pretending? Makoto, honesty, sincerity, integrity. For the samurai, lying wasn't just dishonorable, it was self-destructive. Because every lie you tell creates a gap between who you are and who you pretend to be. And the wider that gap gets, the emptier you feel, the more lost you become. Honesty was about alignment. Your words matched your thoughts. Your thoughts matched your actions. Your actions matched your values. There was no performance, no mask, no pretending to be something you're not. Think about how exhausting it is to maintain a false image, to pretend you're fine when you're falling apart, to say yes when you mean no, to fake enthusiasm for a life you don't even want, to smile when you're dying inside, to act like you have it all together when you're barely holding on. It's exhausting, and it's killing you slowly. The samurai would say, stop lying to yourself first, then stop lying to others. This doesn't mean being brutal or harsh. It doesn't mean saying every thought that crosses your mind. It doesn't mean being cruel in the name of honesty. It means being real. It means saying, I don't know when you don't know. I'm scared when you're scared. I need help when you need help. I made a mistake when you made a mistake. I'm struggling when you're struggling. There's a story about a young samurai who lied to his master about completing his training exercises. He thought his master wouldn't notice, but of course the master knew. Instead of punishing him, the master said, "You didn't just lie to me. You lied to yourself. You told yourself you're the kind of person who takes shortcuts, who cheats, who can't be trusted. Is that who you want to be?" The young samurai broke down because he realized the truth. Every time you lie, you're not just deceiving others. You're training yourself to be a liar. You're becoming someone you can't trust. And if you can't trust yourself, how can you ever build anything real? Honesty is freedom, because when you stop pretending, you stop performing. And when you stop performing, you finally start living. You stop wasting energy maintaining an image and start using that energy to build a real life. The samurai lived in truth. It made them powerful, not because they were perfect, but because they were whole. There was no gap between who they were and who they appeared to be. That's real strength. The sixth virtue lives in the shadows. Who are you when nobody's watching? Mayo honor. The samurai didn't care what strangers thought of them. They didn't care about gossip, rumors, or public opinion. They cared about one thing. Could they respect themselves? Honor wasn't about reputation. It wasn't about what others said about you. It was about self-integrity. It was the quiet knowledge that you'd lived up to your own standards, even when no one else knew. Especially when no one else knew. We've lost this completely. We chase likes, followers, validation from people we'll never meet. We make decisions based on what looks good, not what feels right. We post the highlight reel and hide the struggle. We craft an image and then become slaves to maintaining it. But here's the thing the samurai knew. Honor is built in private. It's what you do when no one's watching. It's keeping a promise to yourself when breaking it would be easier. It's choosing the hard right over the easy wrong. Not for applause, not for recognition, but because you have to live with you. Imagine this scenario. You set a goal. Wake up at 5 in the morning for a week. Exercise every day. No excuses. No one else knows about this goal. It's just yours. It's between you and you. Day 3 comes. You're tired. You didn't sleep well. Your bed is warm. Your alarm goes off. And in that moment, you have a choice. No one would know if you quit. No one would judge you. You could sleep in, and the world would keep spinning. There would be no consequences, no external punishment, but you would know honor is choosing to keep going. Not for Instagram, not to prove something to others. For you, because you said you would, because you gave yourself your word, and your word to yourself is sacred. The samurai believed that a man without honor was already dead, not physically but spiritually. Because if you can't keep your promises to yourself, what are you? What do you stand for? What can you build? Every time you break a promise to yourself, you damage the most important relationship you have. The relationship with yourself. And once that trust is broken, everything else crumbles. But every time you keep a promise, even a small one, you build that trust back. You prove to yourself that you're reliable, that you're worthy of respect, that you can count on you. That's how the samurai built unbreakable discipline. Not through motivation, through honor, through self-respect that was earned in 1,000 small moments when no one was watching. The seventh and final virtue determines if all the others matter. Chugi, loyalty. The samurai pledged loyalty to their lords, yes. They would die for them without hesitation, but more importantly, they pledged loyalty to their principles, to their code, to Bushido itself, to the promises they made to themselves and the standards they set for their own lives. Loyalty wasn't about blind obedience. It wasn't about following orders without question. It was about unwavering commitment to what mattered most, to what you stood for, to who you decided to be. We live in a world that celebrates quitting. If it doesn't feel good, leave. If it's hard, it's not meant to be. If you're not passionate every single day, you're in the wrong place. We've confused loyalty with stupidity and commitment with suffering. But the samurai understood something we've forgotten. Nothing worth having comes from half-hearted effort. Discipline isn't built in moments of inspiration. It's built in the 1,000 small moments when you don't feel like showing up, but you do anyway. When you don't feel like training, but you train. When you don't feel like being kind, but you're kind anyway. When you don't feel like keeping your word, but you keep it because your word means something. Loyalty to yourself means finishing what you start. It means honoring your commitments, even to yourself, especially to yourself. It means understanding that feelings are temporary, but character is permanent. The samurai trained every single day, not just when they felt motivated, not just when they felt inspired. Every day, rain or shine, sick or healthy, motivated or exhausted, because they were loyal to the practice, to the path, to becoming the person they needed to be. Here's what that looks like in modern life. You start a business. Month 1, you're excited. Month 3, it's harder than you thought. Month 6, you're exhausted and nothing's working. Everyone around you says quit. Cut your losses, move on. It wasn't meant to be. Loyalty asks, have you given everything? Have you tried every approach? Have you learned every lesson? Or are you just tired? Because tired passes. Quitting is permanent. Now, this doesn't mean staying in situations that are genuinely harmful. The samurai weren't stupid. They knew when to retreat, when to change strategy, when to walk away. But they never gave up on themselves. They never stopped being loyal to their own growth, their own potential, their own code. Because if you can't trust yourself to follow through, how can you ever build the life you want? How can you ever become unbreakable? So how do you actually live this? How do you take 800-year-old wisdom from feudal Japan and apply it to your life today, right now, in a world of notifications, distractions, and endless noise? The answer is simpler than you think. But simple doesn't mean easy. Start small. Start today. Start with one decision. You don't need to become a samurai overnight. You don't need to transform your entire life in a single day. You need to make one decision aligned with these virtues. Just one, and then another, and then another. Tomorrow morning, when your alarm goes off, practice courage. Get up. Don't negotiate with yourself. Don't hit snooze. Don't tell yourself 5 more minutes. Just get up. That's you. That's courage. That's winning the first battle of the day. When someone frustrates you, cuts you off in traffic, is rude to you, practice respect. Pause before you react. Take a breath. Respond with intention, not emotion. Choose to be the kind of person who shows respect, even when it's not returned. That's Rei. When you're tempted to cut corners, to take the shortcut, to do something the easy way instead of the right way, practice honesty. Do it the right way. Even if it takes longer, even if no one notices, even if you're the only one who knows. That's Makoto. When you make a promise to yourself, practice loyalty. Keep it, no matter how you feel. No matter what excuses your mind creates, Keep your word to yourself like your life depends on it, because in a way it does. That's Chugi. The samurai didn't build discipline through motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather. They built discipline through ritual, through daily practice, through doing the same small things over and over and over until those things became who they were. Discipline isn't a feeling, it's a practice. It's a decision you make every single day in every single moment. And here's the beautiful part. Every time you honor your word to yourself, you become a little more unbreakable. Every time you choose the hard right over the easy wrong, you build trust with yourself. And that trust is the foundation of everything. That's the foundation of confidence, of self-respect, of inner peace, of becoming someone you're proud to be. You don't need to be perfect. The samurai never expected perfection. They expected commitment. They expected effort. They expected you to keep showing up, keep trying, keep honoring the code even when you failed. Because you will fail. You'll break promises to yourself. You'll choose comfort over character. You'll take the easy path. You'll give in to fear, to laziness, to distraction. That's being human. But the samurai way is to get back up, to acknowledge the failure without shame, to learn from it, and to try again tomorrow, one choice, one day, one virtue at a time. That's how you build an unbreakable self, not through one grand transformation, but through 1,000 small decisions that add up over time. Start today, not tomorrow. Not when you're more motivated, not when conditions are perfect. Today, choose one virtue. Practice it today, just today, and then wake up tomorrow and do it again. That's the path. That's the way. There's an old Japanese proverb that the samurai lived by. The bamboo that bends is stronger than the oak that resists. The samurai understood this deeply. Discipline doesn't make you rigid. It doesn't turn you into a robot, cold and unfeeling. It makes you resilient. It makes you flexible. It gives you the strength to bend without breaking, to face storms without being destroyed, to endure what would crush others. Discipline doesn't break you down. It builds you up from the inside out. It creates a core so strong that nothing external can shake it. The chaos of the modern world, the distractions, the noise, the pressure, none of it matters when you have that core. When you've built yourself through practice, through honor, through daily commitment to becoming better than you were yesterday. So the question isn't whether you're strong enough. You are. The question isn't whether you're capable enough. You are. The question is whether you're willing to start. Whether you're willing to choose discipline over distraction, character over comfort, growth over convenience. Are you willing to walk the path? Not the easy path, not the path everyone else is taking. The samurai path, the path of someone who becomes unbreakable. If you want more wisdom like this, ancient principles for modern life, practical philosophy that you can actually use to build a better life, subscribe to this channel. We'll keep walking this path together. Every week we'll explore the timeless wisdom that helps you become stronger, wiser, more disciplined, more at peace. Until next time, remember this: your life changes the moment you decide to change it. Not when conditions are perfect, not when you feel ready. The moment you decide, choose your next action with intention. Make it count, make it matter, and become unbreakable.